Sairam children, today we are going to start new chapter, chapter number 12, tuples. The Python tuples are sequences that are used to store a tuple of values of any type. You have learned in the earlier chapter that Python tuples are immutable. Children, I hope you all are able to understand what is the exact meaning of immutable and mutable. See, in the previous video, we have just completed chapter number 11, that is list. So, list is the example of mutable data types, but tuples are immutable. You cannot change the elements of a tuple in place. We can say that. Python will create a fresh tuple when you make changes to an element of a tuple. Tuple is a type of sequence like strings and list, but it differs from them in the way that lists are mutable but strings and tuples are immutable. So always remember what is the meaning of immutable. Immutable means a new form of sequence going to be formed when we are doing any changes. So tuples are immutable. This chapter is dedicated to basic tuple manipulation in Python. So in Python, when we are creating tuple, so different operations we can form. Okay, so we shall be talking about creating and accessing tuples, various tuple operations and tuple manipulation through some built-in function. Then let's move to the next slide. Let's zoom this. See, the very first topic in this chapter is creating and accessing tuples. Now, how we are going to create tuple, we are going to learn about that and how we can access that. A tuple is a standard data type of Python that can store a sequence of values belonging to any type. The tuples are depicted through parentheses, that is round brackets. So how we can make the tuples, children, with the help of this parentheses? What we call these are parentheses, or we can say that round brackets. So in this way we can make the tuples. Now let's see the first one. This is the empty tuple. In this no member is there. In second we are having three numbers, that is integer. What is the meaning of integer? Integer means numbers. So 1 comma 2 comma 3 are the integer inside the parenthesis. So it is a kind of tuple of integer here. Then in the third example you are having 1 comma 2.5 comma 3.7 and 9. So in this we are having integers. Integer means like 1 2 3. And what is the meaning of floating point? Floating point means anything in decimal. So in this example you are having integers as well as floating point numbers. So this is a tuple of numbers which contain integers and floating point. Next is, if you concentrate here, A, B, C, tuple of characters. So A, then B, then C. So all are in single quotes. So these are characters here. Okay, then in the next one you are having A in in quotes, then 1, then B in quotes, then you are having 3.5, that is a floating point, then you are having string, that is 0. So tuple of mixed value. So in this case if we are talking about these, the tuple of mixed value types are there. Okay, let's discuss about this example. In this you are having 1 2 3, all are in single quotes. Okay, so tuple of strings. Before we proceed and discuss how to create tuples, one thing that must be clear is that tuples are immutable. So again and again, children, we are saying that tuples are immutable. We can't modify tuple. Existing tuple we can't modify, that is non-modifiable. You cannot change elements of a tuple in place. In the same place we cannot change the elements of the tuples. Okay, Now let's move to the next slide. Now let's see how exactly we can create tuple. So creating a tuple is similar to the list creation. So in the way we can create the list, in the same manner we need to make the tuple. So but we need to put a number of expression in the parenthesis. So see, 2 4 6. So this is your tuple. Then in the next one you are having string in a form of tuple. Let me zoom that. In the next one you are having mixed value tuple. In the last you are having empty tuple. So what exactly how we are making tuple? We are making tuple with the help of the parenthesis. Anything inside the parenthesis, whether it is in the integer form, whether it is in floating point, whether it is a string, so all is a kind of a tuple. Okay, so this construct is known as tuple display construct. So anything which is written in the form of this is called tuple display construct. Okay, now let's talk about numerous type of tuples. So we are having different types of tuple. First we are having empty tuple, then we are having single element tuple. So let's discuss in brief how exactly we can form such kind of tuples. So in the empty tuple is like this, nothing is there inside that tuple. So tuple, nothing is there, it is going to be stored inside the T. So it will generate an empty tuple and name that tuple as T. Now next is single element tuple. Making a tuple with a single element is tricky, because if you just give a single element in the round brackets, Python considered it as only. So one was treated as an integer expression, hence one stores an integer, not a tuple here. So one thing you need to be careful about this. See children, what I'm trying to say that T only one you are giving inside this. So it means you are having only single element inside that tuple. So when we check the type of this T, you will get int. What you will get? Int. I hope you remember what is the functionality of this type keyword. Okay, with the help of the type keyword you come to know what kind of data you are using in that particular expression. So here you will get, definitely you will get int, but here what we are doing, we are exactly making tuple here. So how we can say that it is a kind of tuple instead of integer? How? So what you can do, you can write T3, use comma. So with the help of this comma, see, let me zoom more here. So what you can do, T equal to 3 comma T. So this is the format of tuple. Then if you are using parenthesis, again use this comma and close this. So this is the form of tuple. If you are writing directly like this, it will give you a type of integer. Okay, try to understand this. If you are creating single element tuple, you have to put comma after the element. Okay, let's move to the next is about long tuple. Long tuple. If a tuple contains many elements, long tuple is about if a tuple contains many elements, then to enter such a long tuple, you can split it across several lines. So, see, let's see this example. SQRS is a kind of variable. Inside this is a parenthesis and a long tuple is there, 0 comma 1 comma 4 comma 9. So a kind of long tuple is there, many elements are present. Notice the opening and the opening parenthesis and closing parenthesis appear just in the beginning and the end of the tuple. So we are opening from here and we are closing here, this side. So same manner you can enter number of elements inside the tuple. Okay, then you are having nested tuple. Now what is the meaning of nested? See, this nested word we have discussed in flow of control also, we have discussed in list chapter also, in the string chapter as well as. So what is the meaning of nested exactly? It means, see, if we are talking about list under list in this way. If we are talking about nested tuple inside the tuple. So here you are having 1 2 3 comma 4. So 0 position you are having 1, at 2 position, at 1 position you are having 2, and at 2 position you are having a kind of more tuple, so 3 and 4. Okay, so in this way we are creating nested tuple. If a tuple contains an element which is a tuple itself, then it is called the nested tuples. For example, following is a nested tuple: T1 1 2 comma 3 comma 4. The tuple T1 has 3 elements: 1 2 and 3 and 4. That is a nested tuple. The third element of the tuple T1 is the tuple itself. Hence T1 is a nested tuple. So tuple inside the tuple is an example of the nested tuple. Next is creating tuple from the existing sequence. Now you can also use the built-in tuple object tuple to create a tuple from the sequence as per the syntax. So T equal to tuple sequence. Okay, so with the help of any sequence you can create the tuple also. How? See, let's see. T1 equal to tuple hello. So hello is a string here. With the help of this tuple function, you are creating a tuple. So T1 gives you T1 when you print T1. So this hello, H separately, E separately. In this way, it comes as a tuple here. Okay, then what you are here, you are passing string. Here you are having list. Now this list is refer inside with the help of the tuple keyword. Now tuple is going to form in T2. When you are printing this T2, you are going to have this. Okay, then T1 enter tuple elements. Enter tuple elements. Now you are entering this. So when you are printing this T1, you are having such kind of thing. Okay. Now let's see one more thing, avail function. Now this function we have already discussed in the string chapter. I hope you remember we have already discussed in this the string chapter. So what is the functionality of avail function? Avail function takes the input and convert in the possible way. Okay, as you are giving the input. Okay, it understands the input and convert it into like that only. Okay, let's see how. Let's see another example of this. See, write a program to create 3 tuples. So program to create 3 tuples. In this you are passing string. In this you are passing in numbers. In this you are passing list. Okay, 3 tuples we need to make. So T1 tuple avail input, enter input for tuple 1. Tuple 1 you are giving string like this. Okay, so what kind of output you are having? So this string is going to convert in a form of tuple. So A separately, B separately, C separately, D separately. In this way you are going to have the output. Now at the time of tuple 2 you are having 3 4 5 6. So in this way it is going to be printed. Now in the tuple 3 you are giving list. So this list is going to convert in a form of tuple. So how it is going to be convert in a tuple? You are getting output in this square parenthesis, in a round brackets parenthesis form you are getting output. It means that is in the form of tuple. Now next is what will be the types of T1, T2, T3 created as per the code given below, considering the 3 inputs of example. Now again 3 inputs we need to give. So same inputs we are giving. One is of string, another is of numbers, another, the last one was a list. So these input we were giving, and we need to find out what kind of type it is. So A B C D is a string type. Okay, so it means the type T1. See, if you are giving input A B C D, so what is the functionality of this avail function? Avail function take the input in that manner only, the way you are giving. Avail function understand the type of that input. So when you are giving A B C D E F in this curly brace, in the double quotes, avail function understand that it is a string function. So T1 is having a string data type. Okay, so when you are asking for type T1, so str is going to be print. Then T2 tuple, because you are giving exactly a tuple. Then T3 at the time you are passing a list in that. Okay, I hope you all are getting my point. So here we are just talking about creating a tuple, and if we want to know exact data type of that tuple, how we can find out with the help of the type function. Then next is a write a program to create a tuple with a single input value. Now this single input value program belongs to that concept which we have discussed at the time of single element tuple. In the single element tuple, what we have given? We have given 1. So here compiler get confused. You are giving single element or you are giving integer. Okay, so for removing that confusion, what we have to do? We have to use this comma after that single element. So here aware input, enter input for tuple. Now if you enter 67, so here created tuple is 67 and that belongs to the integer family. But if you are giving comma here, created tuple become like this: 67 this, and in this parenthesis you will have this output. If you are giving 67, you will get 67 only. Okay, it is not going to come in a form of tuple, children, here. So if you want a input, because you are creating a tuple here, so your input and output should be in a tuple format. Okay, then let's move to the next question. Now next question is given below is a code which is trying to create a tuple from a single element and it's the same run. Why is it created variable? Why is it created variable, not a tuple type? So same thing which I was discussing in the previous slide. What I am discussing, when you are giving, see, if you are giving 67 alone without comma, then this aval function read this input as an integer, and when you try to print type of T1 comma type T1, so you will get int. Why you are getting int? Because 67 is an integer. So if you want to create this 67, because this is a single element here, so you have to put comma after that. If you are putting like this comma, then you will have type tuple here. I hope you are getting my point. Okay, again, before ending this video, I would like to repeat my words that tuples are immutable, non-modifiable. So we have to understand what is the difference between immutable and mutable data types. Children, with this I'm ending this video. So we will meet in the next video with more topics of this chapter only. Till then, take care of yourself. Sairam. Thank you so much attending this class.